Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to go over rendering and kind of some simple ways to render. And I'm going to teach you how I render in Ballpoint Pen and kind of the easy way to do that. So let's kind of talk about this. And I can kind of talk about it by kind of zooming in on this alien dude over here. And I've talked a little bit about shading before and kind of how I place my darks in a story, right? And but this one I really want to talk about the actual kind of like little lines that I do. So let's hop into it, okay? And then hopefully you have a good time doing this. So let's take a quick look at this like horn that this dude has, right? We're looking at this horn and I'm thinking, okay, where is the light, where is the dark, right? So when I look at that, I'm thinking of like a simplified shape in my mind's eye, right? I'm thinking of like, let's just simplify it down to like a cone shape, right? And that cone shape is going to be pretty much light at the top. There's going to be dark below, right? Dark below. And then because it's kind of high up, there's going to be reflected light bouncing off of his shoulder. So that when light comes from above, it's going to bounce from his shoulder right here, right? Around this area, boom. And it's going to bounce up into that horn. Okay? And for that reason, you're going to get this band effect, which is called a core shadow. So core shadows are pretty common in a lot of stuff. But that core shadow right there, that's where you have that band of dark. And when you start using core shadows, by the way, you get addicted to them. Like people get way obsessed with core shadows. Thank you for the likes, by the way. I appreciate it. Definitely keep hitting the like if you can. Really helps the live go out. So you get this band of dark right around here. It goes all the way down, whatever it is, right? Right now, it's kind of a horn that's running off the page here, or running off the live. So you get this band, and then the band is going to conform to the surface. So what would be the surface, right? If it was just a straight up tube, if it was a straight up surface, like a straight up simplified, it's just going to be a band like that. But the one thing I see a lot of people do is they make that band a little too generic, and you don't really want to do that. What you want to do is you want to make vary up that band to make it look more organic, since it's on like a crooked horn right there. You want to actually make this this kind of go, I don't know, you want that dark not to be consistent. You want it to be kind of a little bit imperfect. Because I know when you start drawing stuff, it's really common that you want to make everything perfect, right? You want to make everything sound and ideal, and I get it, you know, like you want to do like stuff like a machine, like make it look like a machine did it or something like that. But that's really not the way it goes when you're drawing like creatures or people or any of that. People is obviously people are, and animals have imperfections, and it's kind of weird when you learn to draw like quote unquote perfectly, right? You want everything straight and stuff, and then you have to throw imperfections in it, right? It feels awkward. It feels weird. You're like, oh, like I thought you're not supposed to do this, but you got to make yourself, you know, do these imperfect, asymmetrical things like in here. I can't just put a band. I got to put like this crooked band over here a little bit. Like, okay, I got to make that bigger. I got to make this a little bit different right here. Maybe pull a mark out that way that wouldn't normally be there. So it's a huge thing. I get the artist struggle. I've done that as well. I went through it, and it's almost like you're unlearning something, which is fascinating. And then we throw like a darkness down here, right? Which is going to be lighter than the band of dark that we're talking about. So we have the light hitting the actual source, right? We have the actual light hitting right there. Then we have the dark band, which is called the core shadow. And then right here we have kind of more or less the regular shadow. You could make it really bright, but it's going to make it look metallic if you do that. If you make this part right here totally white, it's going to straight up look like he's made out of metal sometimes. So you don't really want that because he's not made out of metal. And for all of this stuff, I'm pulling little baby lines right here, pulling little baby, like these little tiny lines when I'm using, this is more of a specifically a pen thing right here, a specifically ballpoint pen. I'm pulling these little curved lines right there along the form, these little baby lines. And that makes a big difference. It makes it look a little bit more round, a little bit more like a little bit more 3D, which is kind of what you want, right? Hopefully it's not too much shadow right here. Let me know. But you know, like right there sees a lot of shadow, right? I gotta like from my hand, I gotta be careful. But when you're pulling these baby lines, you really want them to kind of like merge together, right? That's like the core of like cross hatching. But we don't need to go over like basic cross hatching. I'm just talking about how to use pen. Let me zoom out a little bit. All right, cool. So when I go over here, right, especially like this crooked horn, see how I'm throwing a line right there. I want to break up, like maybe make one of these a little bit longer, right? Maybe one of these a little bit too long, make one a little bit thicker. I'm trying to make it not perfect, right? So it looks like this dude, you know, evolved or something, or was created, you know, was born and, you know, had a life and was, you know, like he has mistakes. He didn't just pop out a factory. That's kind of what, you know, you're trying to fool your viewer into thinking like, oh yeah, this could be real. This could be a legit thing. This guy could have, you know, what kind of life did this creature have? Is he, you know, where is he from? What is his origin? Was he, you know, was he created in a lab? Was he, right, like I said, was he born, had a family, all that stuff? So, like all these questions, it still leads to this kind of imperfection within this area, especially his horn, right? If he's used it or had it. But, and like I said, I'm using the same thing right here, pulling baby lines. And in the beginning, when you start pulling these baby lines right now, like I'm doing right now, very like subtly, when you're doing this, if you do it like slow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you do it like that, you're gonna take all day. So a lot of times when I'm thinking of a surface like this, I'm just pulling these like pretty rapidly, like this, like, you know, kind of more or less on instinct. I'm more or less just being instinctive and just pulling these lines right here. And then in the beginning, you don't even really perceive them, but then they start to kind of form where you're like, okay, they start bunching up and they start to form based on how hard you're pressing. Because the bad thing would be if you press too hard and make a line that's too dark, then you can't erase it, right? Because we're with ballpoint pen here. You cannot erase that. So you have to kind of build this up. The ballpoint pen is all about build up, in my opinion. Very similar to pencil. Where like a fountain pen, like the other fountain pen that I use sometimes, it's all about like boom, boom. Like the second that other pen, you know what I'm talking about? The second you touch the paper, like there's ink, like hard ink, right? This is different. Ballpoint pen is building up, building up, building up, building up. That's why I like it. It's so close to a pencil, and yeah, I really dig that. Also, if you're here, go check out the link in the description. I have a Godzilla head drawing manual there. You can pick that up for free right now. If you're a Godzilla fan and you like any of that stuff, I kind of go over it in an ebook that's pretty much, you know, my way of drawing Godzilla, but it's free, so that's the good part about it. So just pick that up if you're interested. So now let's look at the top here. See, like there's white right along there. So to me, you could leave it like that, totally. You could totally like that, totally be fine. But I kind of want a little bit of edge. I want to be able to see information there, because to me, it just looks like lack of information. So I'm like, okay, what can I do there? Let me zoom in on this head, by the way. All right, let's zoom in a little bit more. Let me go over here. Okay, so to me, this looks like lack of information. I want to add information there. Why do I want to add information? The reason to add information is you want to convey like what's going on, like the surface of the object, to the viewer, right? And I just think it's a good idea to do that. It's not always a good idea to do that, but you want to give a little hint. So in an area like this that's kind of blown out by light, you want to throw a little bit of like the surface is obviously ridged. You want to throw a little bit of lines right here. I usually start out with something like that, and then I adjust it. Little bit of ridge line right here. There you go, a little bit of ridged. a little bit of ridge, and I'm gonna try to like pull a line here or there to kind of show like a little bit of that surface. And the cool part about this stuff is it's up to you, right? It's up to you what you create. Um, Honestly, I'm creating a program right now. I'm creating a drawing program for people. And one of my goals with a lot of people watching is I really want you. Basically, the program, I'll let you guys know when it's released. I'll probably take like a full month creating it. But I want to create like a program where you can sketch whatever you want out of your head, right? Like sketch, you know. I mean, obviously you can get finishes with it as well, like full blown finishes. But I want people to be able to just sit down, doodle whatever's in your head, and because doing that, and you know, is one of the most freeing things ever. Just being able to sit there and work stuff out. Is kind of the reason I got into drawing. I didn't get into drawing to do portraits or stuff like that, which is great to do them. I can still do them, but I didn't get into drawing to draw portraits of people. I got into drawing to I want to create weird stuff in my sketchbook, and you know what I mean, and just create whatever's in my head. So I'm assuming that's pretty much my audience right there, is whoever's kind of doing that. You know, whoever wants to do that, pretty much. That's my audience. All right, so see how I put in a little bit of information right there, but I don't, you know, like again, and it's up to the artist where they feather it out, right? That's kind of like I was saying. You guys are gonna get tired of me saying this, but drawing is about decisions. You know, like where I pull this line out right there is gonna matter. Drawing is about decisions, really. Like, so this is where each individual, your taste comes in. Oh, I like. No, I like it totally white at the top, right? Or I want to throw a really dark right here. I want to throw a lot of shadow right here and make this whole thing a totally different value. Or like what I'm doing right here, I'm kind of pulling some information out because that's my taste. But, you know, I'm not going to like, you know, fill everything in because I think that's going to be, I'm not going to fill in every single like line right there because I like the way it looks, where you get the impression across. So, but yeah. Hopefully, you know, that kind of helps of what, you know, we're talking about. What I want you to do, by the way, is definitely hit me up with some comments and like what it is that you want to learn. And I can go over it specifically because there's so many different parts of drawing in general, you know, alone, right? Much less like painting, which is probably something I'm going to start doing in the future, is creating like maybe painting stuff more. Like I'll spend time more on my own painting as well, because I spend most of my time drawing, and but God, drawing is so infinite though. It's crazy to think that, you know, like obviously when you bring color into it, it's infinite as well. So it's just fun to do all these things. Okay, let's zoom out. Let me zoom out. Oops, let me zoom out real quick. Come on, zoom out. What's going on here? There we go. Oh my gosh, I'm zooming in. Zoom out. I cannot zoom out. Okay, anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go live tomorrow, so if you're around, let me know. And yeah, we can talk. So thanks so much, guys. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Whoa.